So the question for this episode
Yeah.
is more about self-disclosure. Is it something we use in therapy? How much do we use? Do we like it? Don't we like it?
How much?
How much?
How
How
much
little?
is-
Anything that can evolve. And Paul? What's your take?
So self-disclosure. Yeah, I think it can be useful and it's got a place in therapy. I'm not sure. I feel that we're asking the client to give a lot of themselves. Why am I not for them prepared to also do the same if we've got an equal relationship?
Really good point.
However, I don't feel it's useful to go too deep, but I would share a little bit about myself, how counselling was useful for me, and that's how it got me actually into counselling. And it can also start a conversation. It can start a bit of a flow between counsellor and client. It's
Can
that
deepen
giving
the
yourself,
relationship.
yeah. You're trusting me. I'm trust. Do you know that trust part? So I think it does have its place. Definitely.
Yeah.
How about you, Bev?
Well, I heard a story once about a client who came in and once asked, name, address, all that sort of stuff, who said to the counsellor, and where do you live? And the counsellor said, oh, I don't want to say, and the client never came back. It was like, barrier, woohoo.
Yeah.
So, obviously you're not going to go out giving out your address, but, you could say the general area you live,
Yeah.
or I live around here, or I live 10 minutes away, or something, I think it's generally helpful for two human beings in the room to give something. And I do self-disclosure a lot, through my work, and even in our facial expressions we are disclosing stuff, aren't we? And we're trying to be transparent. So yeah, I'll do loads of it, but as far as telling my personal business, it has to be for the benefit of the client, which is a subjective, individual, moment by moment thing. What about you, Andy?
I absolutely agree with you, 100%. What might be helpful, because I've had a bit of a history of this in my early stages as a counsellor. I spoke up in previous episodes about it, but I had this real thing of, I need to be a counsellor and professional, and I can't give out any information. Yeah. And it affected my relationships with my clients. And I could see this in my later work, how much more it flows, and there's a rapport, and there's a freeness there. I'm happy. I'm open and honest. I'll tell you things to the appropriate level, and I also it's disclosure reciprocation, isn't it? I'm open to be real with you. And they invite you to be real with me.
Yeah, I think it's important.
But it's that right. Yeah, absolutely. Confidence in I use that term imperfectly perfect quite a lot, and I use that in sessions. I am imperfectly imperfect, but I'm real. I'm a human. I'm not this guru who knows everything. I'm not that person. I try to dispel that myth, early on, and a lot of that I think comes through disclosure. And I absolutely use a lot of it. Where appropriate, and I kind of really want to harness what you said and jump on what you said then. I'm not going to go into my deepest, darkest things that I've been through.
No.
That's not appropriate. That's about me having therapy. Then.
That's not useful, is it? No.
I might have my own therapy. I might talk to you lovely people, my friends, my family. It's not appropriate in session, However, there's an element of something of, from my experience, I did suffer with anxiety, and I found this thing helpful. That I think can be very useful in session, because then it shows I'm real, I'm human.
Yeah. I
I also experience an emotion called anxiety. It normalises a lot, I think, if used well. So that's my view on it.
Yeah, and I mean, when you said that, gave that experience of a client who was taking some details, or a counsellor, and they said, I'm not going to tell you where I live. It sort of made me laugh, because I thought, often I do assessments for clients for a certain agency, and when I'm doing assessments, it's quite a long-winded process, and it can be some of the questions are very direct and are very intrusive to a degree. So sometimes I will use light disclosure to kind of normalise the questions and to normalise the process. So if a question is something along the lines of, have you got any food issues? it might be, oh yeah, no, I probably like chocolate too much. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, I like that.
So it's not saying, oh yes, I've, you know,
Do you like chocolate?
well, of course I love chocolate. You know, but it's not kind of like going into any depth. It's just kind of, oh well, yeah, she's like, you know, we're having a bit of a laugh, a light laugh about it, and we move on.
I'm human too.
I'm human. I'm, you know,
important.
You know, I kind of. It's a kind of question. It's a weird kind of question, but we can have a little bit of a laugh about it. But we can still answer it, and we can answer it truthfully. Yeah. So. I guess that's where I use it most, and I use it in sessions if it's appropriate. But it's easy. You've got to remember it's always about the client and about their experience and what they need from the session. So if it's useful, yes, and if it creates a deep and therapeutic relationship because they know that you like soft shopping at Waitrose, then that's cool. Yeah.
I think it's a really useful point in there as well about the where you are in the relationship with that client. Because on session 1, when they just come through the door, saying, "Oh, by the way, I've done this," but it's just not okay in any sense. If you've got a rapport and you've worked with this client for a long time, then actually it might be more appropriate to give a little bit more. But yeah, on day 1 when they come for an assessment, that sort of, I live down the road, I like a bit of chocolate. That's enough, isn't it? From session 1, I think.
Yeah.
There's, just thinking about it, there's loads of potential examples for it that are sufficiently vague. Like you could say, well, I remember one time when I was really scared and I didn't know how to stop myself being all tensed up or something like that. So I'm sharing how I managed fear, and I'm sharing that I felt fear once, but not necessarily saying why.
Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah.
But then you might actually say, somebody says, "Oh, every time I see a tiger, I get scared." I said, "Well, I'd be scared if I saw a tiger." So again, one sounds evasive and one sort of doesn't.
Yeah.
I think it's important to keep it brief. But interestingly, and I did when I knew we were doing this episode, got this book out, or got Amanda to get this book out, that Yalom has. This is his most recent book, and I'm not plugging the book as such, but with it came an interview online that I watched. And he famously said something like, and it's worrying saying it, any amount of disclosure is okay. And I thought, wow, there's this like godlike person saying this. Actually, I do disclose a lot. It was very validating, but I was a bit worried about sort of people that were still learning and unsure about the level of self-disclosure, that somebody as important as Jalon would make that sweeping statement.
Yeah.
But what I took away from it is that actually disclosure is really, really helpful.
Yeah.
Counsellor disclosure.
Yeah.
You've got to know what you're doing with regards to whose agenda it is, whether you're actually taking over the session in your frame of reference. And I suppose if you've got all those sort of things in place, then I think disclosure's great. Maybe not quite as much as Irvin, but I still love him a lot.
Yeah.
He's such a lovely
Your
guy.
face when you said that.
I know. Yeah. So.
Again, it's being mindful, and it's as long as it's done in the right way.
Yeah, I think it's confidence. I said earlier, confidence thing. If you've got a new counsellor and they're not sure about self-disclosure, then they're going to be a bit more. There's going to be it's going to come out less. I don't know. Flowingy.
Yeah.
Maybe
that's what
natural.
That's what I found in my earlier career when I was trying not to do the self-disclosure. It stopped relationships. A simple question stopped the process.
Yes,
I don't know if I can answer that, and that was all that fear-based new counsellor.
And because sometimes all you'll know is that they won't come back.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there. So don't know if I.
That's a nice.
So it seems like we've kind of got a commonality on that.
Yeah.
We all agree with some form of disclosure, and we have different uses for it, I suppose, and different levels. We understand the different levels.
Yeah.
So
So
come and subscribe, and you like what we do. All the stuff we normally say at the end of these videos.
Questions, particularly ask us some questions.
Particularly questions. We want you. We want your input. Talk to us.
What do you want to know
Please.
that goes on in our heads?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. On how do
It's a
we
wonderful
work with
question.
that one? Yeah.
shall we come
Oh,
to the
that's
end
a
of
good
that
question.
episode? So, if you liked the episode,
Yeah.
please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and put some questions in below. And what we'll do, we'll try and answer them in future episodes.
And Luna will get a treat for every new question.
Yes. There we are. Wait, here we are. Wait. Every new like, Luna gets a treat. She's going to come on next season. Was it not?
I mean, just
Yeah.
We just let Luna outside. She comes through the door at the moment.
that was quite good. Do you know what? I'm just thinking. The more when we start exploring a subject, it just opens up another door to it, and then another door to it, and it just gets bigger and bigger.
We should write down the future.
Do you know that?
Doesn't it?
And
Paul
that
didn't shoot anybody.
we didn't shoot anybody in that episode.
Oh,
but it was
conscious
really
of that
good.
now.
Yeah.
We were all a bit reluctant to talk about that episode, but once we got going, it was quite
Yeah.
cool actually.
Because I was thinking about it as we were going, because it's and I was just thinking, because there's not a couple of clients I've had that have said after a first session, but it's literally a couple, and the rest over time the relationship develops.
Yeah.
I mean, but you need that time to be able to get to